Well, well, well. Look at you. You ever just stop, take a breath, and look at what the hell you've become? Because if you haven't, let me be the first to welcome you back. Welcome back to the ruins you crawled out of, to the silence you screamed through, to the fire that didn't burn you alive. It built you. You were never supposed to be here, were you? No, no. You were meant to break, to vanish, to stay shattered. They poked the wounds. They laughed when you cried. They clapped when you fell. And oh, they loved watching you choke on your own pain. But now they don't recognize what's standing in front of them. They thought you'd heal and move on. They thought you'd forgive and forget. They thought you'd patch yourself up, get a new hobby, maybe read some self-help garbage and become normal again. But instead, you became something they never expected. You didn't just heal. You mutated. You evolved. You transformed pain into precision and scars into ammunition. They didn't create a survivor. They forged a goddamn weapon. What the fuck did you turn into? You turned into everything they feared you could be. And now, it's too late. You were the one they underestimated. You were the punchline to their jokes, the disposable one, the scapegoat, the afterthought. But here's the twist. The afterthought outlived the original plan. Now you're writing the ending, and it's not pretty, it's not poetic, it's not some gentle bow on a redemption arc. No, it's blood-soaked, it's furious, it's real. This isn't healing, this is havoc. This is what happens when the wrong person pushes the right soul past the point of return. You don't owe anyone peace anymore. You don't owe them understanding. You don't owe them softness, forgiveness, or closure. They didn't plant flowers in you. They planted landmines, and now they're stepping on every one of them. You see, they wanted you broken because broken things can be controlled. They wanted you desperate so you'd beg for crumbs. They wanted you lonely so you'd cling to their poison and call it love. But you stood in the ashes of all that and said, no more. You didn't come back stronger. You came back smarter. You didn't rise up. You dug deep, built walls, forged weapons. And now when they look at you, they don't see the old you. They see something they can't touch, something they can't manipulate, can't guilt, can't break, can't shame. You terrify them now because they realize they built this. Every time they ignored you, brick. Every lie, nail, every betrayal, gasoline. And you lit the fucking match. You didn't grow. You detonated. They kept asking for peace after they started the war. Now look who's bleeding. You see, they don't get to unleash hell and then cry when the devil shows up wearing your face. They don't get to destroy your sanity, your dreams, your dignity, and then act shocked when you come back with a smile carved in vengeance and your soul armored in rage. This is what happens when someone quiet finally snaps. When someone kind goes cold. When someone loyal turns lethal. You didn't just walk away from the past. You dragged it behind you like a corpse. So every time they look at you, they're reminded of what they did. They see it in your eyes, that dead silence, that calculated calm. The quiet before a storm no one survives. You're not mad anymore. You're beyond mad. You're surgical, precise, unapologetic. Because healing is for people who want to go back to who they were. You don't. You burned that version of you to ash. You buried it without flowers, without tears. And you didn't write a eulogy. You wrote a warning. I don't break anymore. I break others. Oh, they don't like that part, do they? They like the version of you that apologized for existing, They liked the version of you that bent over backwards just to be tolerated. They loved the one who over-explained every wound like it was their right to understand it. But this version of you, it's a nightmare they can't wake up from. You turned into the thing they never believed you'd become, a mirror. A reflection of every scar they gave you, but multiplied, evolved, weaponized. They thought they buried you in silence, but silence is where monsters are born. You spent nights talking yourself out of suicide, while they slept peacefully. You sat in rooms with a fake smile while your mind screamed so loud you couldn't hear your own heartbeat. You built yourself from the ground up, with no help, no guidance, only shadows and fury. And now that you've made it out, now that you've stopped begging for love and started demanding respect, suddenly you're the problem? No. No more guilt, no more shame. They don't get to call it too much, now that you've become everything too powerful for them to manipulate. You don't want peace. Peace is for people who still have something to lose. You've already lost it all. So now you walk into every room like a loaded gun. You speak like fire. You move like vengeance wrapped in poetry, and they can feel it, that energy, that raw, unshakable force that says, I'm not afraid of anything anymore, especially not you. So what the fuck did you turn into? You turned into the reckoning, the ghost that doesn't haunt. It hunts, the comeback that doesn't knock. It breaks the door down and makes the whole building burn. You're not a survivor. You're the final form of suffering turned sentient. You are the answer to every time someone thought you were weak. They didn't expect this version, because this version isn't about closure. This version is about consequences. You want to know the cruelest part? They don't even remember what they did to you. Not really. To them it was a bad day. To you, it was the beginning of your descent into hell. They called you sensitive, overdramatic, too much. They watched you collapse under the weight of their betrayal, and then stepped over you like trash on the street. And now they flinch when they hear your name whispered in rooms they once dominated. Now they sweat when they see your face rising in the places they swore you'd never reach. Because you're not just standing again, you're hovering above them, unrecognizable, untouchable, undeniable. They look at you now and say, you've changed. Damn right you have. You changed so hard, even your shadow's afraid of you. You don't walk with fear in your eyes anymore. You walk like a funeral in motion, like a memory they never wanted to face again. This isn't a redemption arc. This isn't your come to Jesus moment. This is your villain origin story, and the world is gonna feel every chapter. You didn't climb back up the ladder. You ripped it off the wall and started swinging. You turned your trauma into tactics. You turned rejection into results. You turned isolation into independence so lethal they can't breathe around it. And what do they say now? You're cold. You're arrogant. You've got an attitude. No. You've got clarity. You've got armor. You've got a spine made of every time you had to swallow your pain while they laughed in your face. Let them talk. Let them whine. Let them paint you as the monster. Because they forgot one little detail. Monsters don't fear the dark. They control it. They thought pain would weaken you. But you built a kingdom inside that pain. And now you sit on a throne of every no you ever heard, every insult you buried, every breakdown they walked away from, and you smile. Because they can't hurt you anymore. Not because they stopped trying, but because you stopped needing them to understand. What the fuck did you turn into? You turned into the thing they swore you'd never become. free. Free from their approval, free from their permission, free from the chains of playing nice just to stay acceptable in the eyes of cowards. You turned into fire with no off switch, a storm with no mercy, a soul that's been reborn without apology. And now it's your turn to be the nightmare. You don't knock her, you enter, you don't warn, you act. You don't break down anymore, you break through. Because this isn't healing, this is havoc, and they asked for it. Oh, you ever realize how people only ask if you're okay after they watch you burn? They all want to act like they care once the fire's already swallowed everything, once there's nothing left to save, once you've become the flame itself. But where the hell were they when your hands were shaking in the dark, begging for anything to hold on to? Where were they when your thoughts screamed louder than your voice ever could? Where were they when the world became so heavy you started planning your exit just to breathe again? Nowhere. They were busy ignoring you, busy betraying you, busy sharpening their knives while smiling to your face. And now that those knives are in your hands, now that you've learned how to wield the very weapons they used to cut you down, suddenly you're the dangerous one. Good. Let them fear you. Because fear is honest. It's the only language some people understand. They didn't listen when you begged, didn't listen when you cried, didn't listen when you broke. So now they'll listen when the earth shakes beneath your steps. They'll listen when your silence starts screaming truth louder than their guilt can deny. You've stopped explaining yourself, because explanations are for people who care. And these people, they never gave a damn about you. They only cared about controlling you. But control only works on the weak. And you've been through too much, lost too much, endured too much to be owned by anyone ever again. What the fuck did you turn into? You turned into your own salvation. You became your own damn rescue team. When no one came to save you, you became the wrath they should have prayed never woke up. They used to call you emotional. Now they call you heartless. They used to say, you're too kind. Now they say, you've changed. They're right. You did change. You killed the version of you that tolerated that bullshit. And the death wasn't peaceful. It was war. It was chaos. It was nights of bleeding and shaking and screaming into the void until your soul cracked open. And something ancient crawled out. Something that remembered every name, every lie, every back turned. Something that doesn't forget. You didn't evolve into a hero. You didn't bloom into some poetic phoenix. You descended. You corrupted. You became the answer to the pain, not the escape from it. And now you look at the world with new eyes. Eyes that see everything. The manipulation, the masks, the hidden knives behind soft voices. And you smile. Because you're not confused anymore. You're not lost. You're not begging for crumbs. You're taking back everything they stole. And you're doing it without mercy. This is your world now. And anyone who touched your trauma better start praying, because the one they broke is gone, and the one that replaced them doesn't play fair. This isn't healing, this is havoc. And every scream, every scar, every second of suffering was the price they paid to summon you. They built this monster. Now they get to meet it. They thought your silence meant weakness. But silence is what happens right before the detonation. You weren't healing. You were calculating. You were studying. You were letting the venom settle in your bloodstream until it became your fuel. They thought you went quiet because you gave up. No, you went quiet because you leveled up beyond language. You stopped trying to prove your worth. You stopped trying to prove your worth. You stopped trying to be the bigger person. You stopped setting yourself on fire to keep cowards warm. Because you realized it was never about being better than them. It was about outlasting them. And now, you're not standing in front of them. You're standing above them. Not because you climbed a ladder they built, but because you dismantled theirs and built a fortress with the wreckage. And that fortress, it's made of every breakdown you survived. Every time you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize your own face. Every time you screamed into the dark and the dark screamed back. Every time you were told you were too much, or worse, not enough. You turned every failure into a blade, every loss into a shield, every rejection into a roar. And now you walk with that energy, that untouchable atomic no-return energy. You don't just enter rooms anymore, you shift the gravity inside them. People feel you now, not because you're loud, but because you've become the epicenter of consequence. They used to ignore you. Now they watch their words around you. They used to mock you. Now they lower their gaze. Because deep down, they know. They know what they did. They know what they tried to break. They know how hard they pushed. And they know that whatever you are now, they're not ready for it. Because here's the truth they'll never admit. You were never the villain. You were the target. You were the one they tried to chain, to shrink, to silence, because something in you terrified them from the start. You didn't destroy the peace. You destroyed the illusion. They painted you as unstable. But really, you were just awake. They painted you as selfish. But you were just done bleeding for people who never bled for you. They called you ruthless because you finally refused to be used. What the fuck did you turn into? You turned into a force of reckoning. You turned into a voice that doesn't shake anymore. A presence that doesn't ask to be respected. It demands it by default. You turned into someone that doesn't wait to be understood. You speak, and the world has to adjust. Because this version of you, it's not a phase, it's not a mask, it's not a mood. It's a permanent scar that walks, breathes, and bites back. This isn't your comeback. This is your declaration of war. This is the warning they never saw coming, the prophecy written in trauma, etched in survival, and delivered with a vengeance wearing your smile. You don't want closure. You want results. You don't need peace. You are the storm. They asked for this. They poked the demon, mocked the process, laughed at your pain. Now they don't get to play victim. Now they face the final product. The one who doesn't forget. The one who doesn't bow. The one who doesn't blink. This isn't healing. This is havoc. And the most terrifying part? You're just getting started. You ever watch people suddenly become spiritual once you stop playing nice? Suddenly it's, you've changed. You're toxic. You need help. No, you got help. Just not the kind they wanted you to get. You didn't crawl back to them. You didn't ask for forgiveness. You didn't beg for understanding. You dismantled your own damn cage, piece by piece. And by the time they looked up, you were already unrecognizable. See, they loved you when you were manageable, when you were bending over backwards, when you were doubting yourself, when you were desperate for a crumb of their validation. They don't love the new you, because the new you doesn't need them anymore. The new you is fluent in silence, fluent in wrath, fluent in self-respect, so sharp it slices their fake concern in half. You used to be a mirror, reflecting whatever they wanted to see. But now you're a weaponized truth, and they can't handle the reflection. You stopped apologizing for surviving. You stopped shrinking to fit their comfort. You stopped pretending that what they did didn't destroy you. Because it did. But you know what else it did? It resurrected something ancient. Something deeper than forgiveness. Something louder than closure. It unleashed the version of you that doesn't ask, doesn't wait, doesn't break. You are the final result of every single time they thought you'd stayed down. But you didn't. You rose, not beautifully, not softly, not with grace. You rose like an earthquake. You came back wrong, on purpose. You came back with shadows in your blood and fire in your breath. And now you haunt them. Not because you try to, but because your existence is a reminder of what they failed to erase. They called you broken.